Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our February Sip and Pitch. My name is Carly Specht. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm Associate Director of Affiliate Relations and External Affairs here at the NGLCC. This is a very special food and beverage edition of Sip and Pitch. So we're so excited to feature some business owners and corporate partner judges from the industry here with us today. Before we get started, I wanted to take a moment to shout out our 25 affiliate chambers around the country that have partnered with us to promote our Sip and Pitch events throughout the year. They help to make these programs a success. So if you're a member of your local affiliate chamber, thank you so much for joining us today. And before we get into the rules and guidelines for today's program, I'm so excited to introduce our three incredible judges here with us today. We have Karin Tobler from Target, Kate Weaver from Chobani, and Cindy Baldwin from Food Buy. So thank you all so much for being here to provide some feedback to our presenters today. Now I'm going to go over some rules and guidelines for the presentation. So first, each company will have 5 minutes to pitch. I will have a timer up on my screen that will count down each presentation, and I'll also unmute myself to remind presenters when they have 30 seconds left. Next, we'll have just one presenter from each participating company, and then after each presentation, judges will have up to 10 minutes for feedback and Q&A. And if presenters do not have a PowerPoint presentation, no problem. This program is designed to be informal to provide real-time feedback for companies' pitches. Reminder to everybody in the audience to please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. And reminder that this is a judgment-free zone. This program is designed to help enhance pitches and grow businesses. So of course, all feedback is shared in the spirit of collaboration. And lastly, and most importantly, have fun. Feel free to grab your beverage of choice and enjoy this last Thursday of the month. So without further ado, we will get started with our first presenter. We have Sam Gutierrez from Pickles Bodega. So Sam, I'm going to get my timer up and you can feel free to start sharing your screen.
Like, let me find my screen. Oh yeah, I want to do this. All right. I
There we
believe that I am up and running.
go. Feel
All
free
right.
to go.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sam. Nice to meet you. Everything is like right in my eyesight. There we go. Okay. So although I grew up in the heat of professional kitchens, my culinary journey is a tribute to my Chicana roots, specifically the time spent with my grandmother in her kitchen. As a volunteer chef for the Blue Watermelon Project, I advocate for food literacy and school wellness, ensuring that culinary skills and cultural heritage remain a vital part of our local food system. After being diagnosed with celiac disease, I quickly realized there was a severe need for allergy safe shopping and dining spaces. A starting point for these goals is Pickles Bodega. So currently I'm in Flagstaff, and Flagstaff lacks dedicated gluten-free dining options. So there is a really big market. There's not one gluten-free restaurant or anything out here. Many people with food allergies struggle to find food that is truly safe, affordable, and convenient. They often visit multiple stores or avoid eating out altogether due to cross-contamination risks, limited gluten-free options, and a lack of transparency in food sourcing. And here are some statistics from our state. And then also just some marketing stuff from Spins, where they're predicting how consumer preferences are evolving because everybody's finding out that they have these allergies they were just untreated before. And so everybody's looking for it, but nobody is providing it. So welcome to Pickles Bodega. We specialize in gluten-free, locally sourced, and health-forward goods, perfect for the mindful and ingredient-savvy shopper. Whether you're navigating dietary restrictions or simply making intentional choices for your wellness, you're in the right place. Pickles Bodega is a pioneering business concept. We provide nourishing food solutions that prioritize community needs with transparent sourcing and full circle business ethics. Everything will be 100% gluten-free, locally grown and made products, clearly labeled allergens, dairy-free, nut-free options available, no artificial preservatives, dyes, rotating seasonal goods, and small batch treats. these are a few of the places that people we're going to be aligning with: Rosebud Produce, Valley Keto, Prism Coffee, Laura's Granola, and many more. I have a an investor project going right now with GoFundMe, and I'm working on how to either become a B Corp or become a nonprofit, so that way the investors can be part of a co-op. I haven't quite gotten to that point yet with what I would do with the investors, but I just know that this is something we really, really need right now. And I have a GoFundMe going on to help me bring some options to Flagstaff. And then here are all of the organizations that I'm affiliated with. And that is it.
Thank you so much, Sam. Great
Yeah.
job. And as someone with celiac disease myself, I'm going to be needing to make a trip out to Flagstaff.
Yeah. We'll be the only grocery store in the entire country. Literally, there's no other allergy cognizant or gluten-free grocery stores at all in the entire country.
That's crazy. All right, I will turn it over to our judges for some feedback. And Karin, I will start with you.
Hi, Sam. Thank you so much for the
Hi.
presentation. So I really enjoyed getting to learn so much today already about just the need that exists, right? And so I
Mhm.
really appreciated that as being part of your pitch. I do have a couple of questions for you.
Mhm.
So you had mentioned your investor
Mhm.
approach,
Mhm.
and potentially like a co-op model. So would you
Yeah.
look to have like a membership?
Yeah. So
Component of for the business?
yeah, I have so many layers to it. Eventually, what I want it to be is a workplace training facility for victims of domestic violence. So I'm starting with the bodega, starting very small with the bodega, and right now I have an LLC. And I would like, when I have the workplace training facility, to have a co-op in place at that point, so that way when my graduates are graduating, they can either become a business owner within the co-op, or they can go off to go work in a hotel that is unionized. So I'm working on kind of both those concepts. I was going to do it like a farmer's market as well, and I've decided the easiest way to kind of get started is to do it like a traditional grocery store, and then possibly do investors that are going to be benefited by my business in the future. So, domestic violence shelters, trauma, places at the hospital, just kind of like that, where it's like a community going back and forth. I'm providing a service to the community by having this allergy cognizant place and by having a workplace training facility, but they're investing back into it.
Sure.
So it's a full circle situation.
Okay.
Does that answer?
That's phenomenal.
A
That's
long answer on
phenomenal.
that. Yeah.
So I think what, in understanding that further, I
Yeah.
think one of the things that I would encourage you to do and what I could offer you is, thinking about your pitch, not just as what's happening today, but that
Yeah.
vision for the future and including
Yeah.
that into your pitch as well. Because then, first and foremost, I think you bring folks in, whether they're
Hmm.
investors, it's a consumer, to really be a part of that journey.
Yeah.
And I think especially nowadays, community is extra, extra important. And so being
Hmm.
part of that journey really resonates with the consumers or investors that are looking to support, sustainable and community focused operations.
Hmm.
And the other question I have, and then I'll wrap it up to give time to the other judges, is tell me about the name.
Pickles.
I personally loved the cultural nod with the bodega, being
Hmm.
Latina.
Hmm.
Curious about the name.
Okay. So this is just I had baby names picked out for, my whole life, whatever, my dream names, or cat names, either one, And so my daughter was going to be named Saffron, like for like 20 years, since I was 10, whatever. And my mother, I love her, but she just kept calling her baby Saffron. And when I was pregnant, my pregnant brain was like, "Oh, I hate that name." So I called my baby Pickles. And when I delivered her, I told them her name was Pickles. They put it in quotations on the big whiteboard, and then I named her Maxwell the next morning. But Pickles was her name, and that was what I was going under Pickles Pastries for a while because that was her name. And so everything is Pickles, and that's my baby girl.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing.
I also love pickles, so like
That's so cute. Thank you, Carmen. I'll turn it over to you, Kate.
Okay, well, Karen already kind of like led into it, and I think she queued it up so nicely.
Mhm.
I think if you haven't already done it, I think you're
Mhm.
going to be giving this pitch multiple
Yeah.
times. And I think she's so right that you have to you have to act like you have like it already planned out.
Yeah.
And even if it's just a pipe
Yeah.
dream, you know?
Yeah.
And I think if you say, again, it might be a little lie, a little tiny white lie, you have to say, my vision is for
Mhm.
Pickles Bodega that da 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 da. Or you have to say something like, what we envision. You have to make it sound bigger than just you, even
Yeah.
if
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
just you and your board of directors, or you and your daughter, or you and your mother, or
Yeah.
you and
Me
your
and my
grandmother.
team of cats.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Just be like, what we envision is this. What we envision
Yeah.
is this. I've already had meetings this week with potential investors. Again,
Mhm.
you and your cats,
Yeah.
and just paint the pictures for the people you're presenting to, so they can be nodding along and just going and looking at each other, going So that's really my only comment, and I know
Yeah.
that's not the comment that you want right now.
No, no, I do because I've gone through so many versions of this, and then I get an advisor here, get an advisor there, and that one wants me to bake cupcakes and go to coffee places every day, and this one wants me to do this or that. And I just kept like toning it down and moving it a different way. And do you all recommend like maybe having this like a mini slide and then maybe like a journey like extra slide at the end of it, or do I start with this is the big picture, but this is how we're going to get there?
Yeah,
I'm
I
looking at my
was.
other, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
oh,
looking at my
I'll
other two
chime in.
judges. I'm like,
Sure, I'll chime in. So I was gonna say the presentation I think was great. I definitely, as someone with food allergens, severe peanut
Mhm.
tree nut allergies, seeing that you're trying to create or will be creating a space.
Yeah.
There we are, speaking it
Mhm.
into fruition. But um, like Kate said, the big picture. But
Mhm.
as someone with severe allergies, I'm so happy to know that there's another human being out there trying to cultivate a safe space for
Yeah.
people to shop with allergens.
Yeah.
I just to the point of like with your presentation, doing an intro about you, I think that was fantastic because it kind of builds up credibility with your culinary background and your expertise, and as someone with allergens.
Mhm.
I personally believe, and I'll see if other judges agree here, but I think maybe like hooking the audience with one of those statistics. So if you
Yeah.
went and looked, maybe I think it was like your third slide by chance, you
Mhm.
had like those
Yeah.
statistics on there. Maybe, kicking off like, did you know that where I reside, it's like a desert in terms of a safe place for people with allergens.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
Pickles Bodega is a solution, like kind of setting it up like that. And
Okay.
then going into kind of like why you're the individual who can spearhead this vision,
Mhm.
back to that first slide. So maybe just like,
Mhm.
in my opinion, maybe restructuring some of the slides.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
and I personally know from being a part of other like business pitches or like small seed funds,
Mhm.
that investors, and when you're doing your pitch, sometimes like to see less text on a slide.
Yeah.
And if you're able to maybe copy and paste like all of that information that you have on the slide and put
Mhm.
it in your presenter's notes so only you can see it, and then
Okay. Yeah.
have like
So I can
bullet
have like
points.
off the cuff, like, okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. And maybe have like some bullet points.
Okay.
That's just a suggestion for me. But
Yeah.
honestly, I want to fly over and experience this. And I went to your GoFundMe, or your GoFundMe.
Mhm.
Are you also on Kickstarter as well? Have you thought about Kickstarter? Um,
I did not.
okay. You can always use both platforms.
Mhm.
So just maybe something to look into.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, as a side note, I do know Kickstarter, though, if you don't make the goal, you don't get any of the money. So I don't know if it's
Oh
the
my
same
gosh.
with this platform too. So just throwing that out
Oh.
there.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I'm like getting
this
no
is great.
traction on it, and I'm not even getting response from like city government or anything here. Like it's, I don't know if everybody's just asleep or they just feel like they don't need to respond to emails, but I'm really trying to get like the community involved. So I've been working with Blue Watermelon in the schools up here and just hitting with the teachers, and telling the teachers about me and selling myself that way because I'm just trying to figure out a way to get in the community um and do that. Okay, so I have so much text and that was the minimal
Okay.
amount of text I could like put on there. So that's what I'm having a problem with is
Sure.
saying all of that stuff, but with a lot less stuff to say.
Mhm.
So that's, I don't know if I should like turn to AI and be like, can you make this into little quips, Um,
Sure.
Yeah.
but
And
something, yeah.
in
So that's what I'm having trouble with. I have like 100 things because I like apply for grants all the time, so I'm just constantly writing stuff like a nerd. But should I just shorten them up to like this little idea, this little idea, and this little idea on each slide, or
Yeah,
anybody?
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead,
I would
Kate.
say, you can really leverage some of those stats, whether you're using an infographic. And I think what
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sydney said about having those behind the scenes, like maybe you pick 1 to 3 that are really important statistics that you show in a really visual way. And then you can always rattle off additional ones as you're talking to investors or, potential consumers as to why this is important. And then that leads into your solution. And think of it as like 5 slides is really all you need.
Okay.
It's the story slide. So a little bit about you, a little bit about why you started the company, why you're
Mhm.
credible, and then a little bit about, the why you're doing this. So a lot of the stats will come in there. The offering. So what is it that you're bringing into the world, both today and what you envision for the future? And
Mhm.
then how you'll make impact. And this can be like how you make money, how you make impact in the community, and then or anything else that you choose to do within the business itself. And then
Mhm.
last but not least, like how will you market it? How are you going to get
Okay.
more
Yeah.
people to know about you?
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yes. I can do all that. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, judges. That was some really, really great
I
feedback.
know. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really needed that.
And thank you too, Sam.
Did a
Great
great job.
presentation. I'm
Yeah,
excited to see it come to life.
great job.
Great job.
All right, next up, we're gonna have Dean Packingham from Mike and Jen Cocoa Mixes. So Dean, whenever you're ready, you can start sharing your screen. Y'all might remember
Okay.
from conference. I know I brought home about 10 to 20 cocoa mixes myself, so I'm excited.
Yeah, we may have come with a lot of the mocha latte singles, so it's so great to see some of the same faces. And I don't have we were asked last night to be part of this, so I didn't quite get the presentation um, for today. But it is great to see some familiar faces again. My name is Dean Packingham, and I am the founder of Mike and Jen's Hot Cocoa. And the question is, if your name is Dean, why is it called Mike and Jen's? Well, I actually named it after my kids, and it was just a family hobby that I started in 2012. So it's been a long time that I've been kind of slogging away at this. At first, it was, just for family and friends. It was just a fun thing to do with the kids. They were 9 and 13 at the time. And we had a lot of fun. I told my daughter, Jen, that we were going to try to make the best hot cocoa in the world. Then I found out I was really OCD. And once I promised her I was going to make the best in the world, I was going to spend the next year of my life outside of work trying to perfect this for my kids. Um, get a little bit carried away. I ordered, it was about 80 cocoa powders from around the world and different variations. I was trying to solve a problem. The problem I was trying to solve was I wanted my daughter, especially because she would come in from playing out in the snow. I wanted her especially to just be able to make hot cocoa mix with just some warm water, maybe some warm tap water. But every day she wanted, the milk heated up, and I was going through so much that I had the institutional size, um, big brand hot cocoa from the wholesale clubs. And I was just going through so much of that. And I said, we have to make our own. I said, I looked at the back of the container and I couldn't believe what was in what we were making every day. It was so many unpronounceable ingredients. And so that's essentially why we made our own. We were trying to solve the problem of a clean label mix and one that you could just add water to. So I knew right away that I never liked any of the ones where you'd had to just add water to it because I thought they were runny and that they didn't have the creaminess to it. And so whole milk powder was the solution that we came up with. We found out not even all whole milk powders are created equal, but over the course of a year and many, many hundreds of iterations and bothering family and friends to try samples, we came upon one where the year before COVID, we did almost 20,000 live samples at events throughout Minnesota. And time again, people would argue that you just made that with water. So it took me a long time to realize my little family creation was liked by other people as well. So that was really fun. So we grew from, doing this in my kitchen to doing it in a coffee shop after hours. Our problem always was finding commercial space where we could manufacture our product. So we went from the church kitchen then to a coffee shop after hours, and then we started contract manufacturing. Once we did that, we went from about 13 stores in our city of Duluth, Minnesota, to over 300 within a year, because we didn't have to spend all of our time making our product. We could just have a company blend it and package it. Kind of fast forwarding from there, we've gone through a couple co-packers. It's always very interesting to try to find a co-packer that will work with you and believe with you. We're now doing probably 150,000 pounds a year. So we actually are able to get co-packers to talk to us. But that was initially one of our major problems. Forwarding now to our vision for the future, we are sort of upper Midwest centric at this point. We're in Costco, Minnesota, Target, yay Target, and Target Minnesota, and then also Target online. We have investors now, and thankfully we're able to make as much product as we need to make it. That we will have those purchase orders that we are able to fulfill any size orders essentially, and grow for the rest of the country. Our focus now is wholesale clubs, grocery, expanding with Target, current, and yeah, so that's kind of been our omni-channel, online, grocery, wholesale clubs, and that's our big focus. And thank you all very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Dean. Great job. I will turn it over to our judges for some feedback. So
Okay.
this time I will start with Kate.
Let me see. There we go. Well, it was great to see you again, Dean. I was this whole time I was like, how do I know that name? How do I know that name? Dean. As soon as she said Mike and Jen's hot cocoa, I was like, that's how I know this name because I used to be in the grocery business, and of course that's how I met you. Yes, I mean I ordered your hot cocoa for some family members this past Christmas, so I have no notes. I mean, I'm a huge fan. I love that you have investors. I'm glad that it hasn't changed your obviously your ownership mix. Excuse the pun on the mix. um, uh, yeah, and I guess I didn't know that it was named after your children, so I love that. I love that, and
Thank you.
I don't know. I'm gonna keep my eye out for like worldwide, not worldwide, US wide, like domination. Like, I don't know. I think that's wonderful. So, I don't know. I have no notes except I'm thinking real quickly. My mind is going back through your entire presentation, thinking, okay, what does he need to do next? You're doing it. You're doing all the things that you need to be doing right now. Um, I have no notes for you,
Thank you.
Speechless is good
Karin.
too.
Hey, do you want to go next? Sydney, do you want to go next?
Sure. Yes. Hi, Dean. I remember
Hi,
meeting you
Sydney.
at NGLCC conference. I think it was last year.
It was,
And
yes.
I still have your hot cocoa mix. In my cabinet and I have been sipping on it, and it is indeed
Oh,
delicious. Made with
thank you.
both hot water or with milk. The water is still so surprising to me how creamy it is. Yeah, I think last time we chatted, I wanted to know, and I think at the time the answer was no, completely fine if that is still the case. But do you know if you all have now the capability to be in like larger coffee machines? For example, like in an airport lounge, if someone were to, go up to a machine and like push for hot cocoa through a machine and it has like a lot of other options. Do you all have the packing configuration for that? Asking on
We
behalf of the
do,
organization I
yes.
work with. Okay.
Miraculously, this bag just appeared.
Oh,
Thank you,
oh,
Amanda. Yes, this is our 2.5 pound, our Costco size,
yeah,
and this works. We have it working in arena in our city that they've used it in machines.
the machines. Okay, perfect. Well,
Yeah,
I think I still have your information, so I can at least send it over to the category manager maybe to review.
absolutely,
So no guarantees, but at least it's a step in the right direction. So, of
for sure. Thank you, Sydney.
course.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of add to what Sydney was saying, that popped in my head as you were ch talking. Have you given thought to more of the like the service type partners? So thinking like aviation, airlines that would serve hot chocolate on a plane or in their lounges, hotels that, leave the little packets. Have you given thought to that?
Yes, it's kind of a subsection that we hadn't much looked too much into as we were kind of building out some grocery and clubs. Then all of a sudden we're in the what's the name of that? It's no, it's in Aspen, Colorado. It's the St. Regis Hotel. And so all of a sudden they just started ordering it and they panicked when we had a little outage because they said all of their customers love it so much and that they just there would be a revolt, they said, if they stopped using it there. We're also in, thankfully, the Delta Supplier Program. It's an
Excellent.
accelerated supplier program with Delta through the diversity. And so we're kind of midway through that, and we have a pitch coming in May, which this is going to be really helpful for. And then we've also spoken with a distributor who works with the airlines, cruise lines, and stuff like that.
Good.
I love that. And then the other piece that I was going to mention,
There's the
what
singles.
I really appreciate about your presentation is much like a lovely little hot chocolate. It's just you were very approachable, and the storytelling I think was really illustrative of what you've created and that started in your own home with your family. So I love that. And I think the other piece that really stood out to me is just the how fast you grew, going from 13 essentially points of sale to 300. That's remarkable. And I think talking a little bit more about, how that happened so quickly
Okay.
is also really compelling because that's not often the case. And so think about how you could incorporate a little of that storytelling and how you continue to scale in order to fulfill that rapid growth.
Right. Perfect. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much, judges, and thank you so much again, Dean. I hope to see you this year at conference again with more samples.
San Diego, we are in.
Yay,
Never
awesome.
too
Lots
hot
of
for hot cocoa.
lots of samples. Yes.
Mhm. All right. Well, next we are going to have Kason Crane from Explorer. So, Kason, whenever you are ready, you can get your slides up and I will get my timer ready for you. You can start whenever you're
Great.
ready.
Oh, am I sharing?
Not yet.
Share. Okay, great. How about now?
Beautiful.
Awesome. Well, continuing on the theme of delicious beverages, from hot cocoa to coffee, I'm Kason. Hello, everyone. I do a lot of different things, but I'm most passionate about coffee. But some fun facts about me, non-coffee related, are I was on a reality show called Race to Survive Alaska. If there's any survival show folks out there who enjoy that, you can stream it on Peacock. I climbed Mount Everest and the Seven Summits. I'm a theater producer as well, but my biggest passion by far is coffee. I started 5 years ago Explore Cold Brew, and we created the caffeine conscious cold brew category. We were the first people to bring a half calf and a decaf cold brew to market. Of course, decaf coffee has existed and historically has been, but it did not exist at all in the cold brew space. So this came out of my own need for an improved caffeine conscious version. But I quickly discovered that it was borderline impossible, and Dean, maybe you and I can commiserate on this, to scale a CPG brand or a food and beverage brand profitably. A big part of that is that you're relying on so many outsourced partners. And so what I did was I changed the direction of the business to become a platform for multiple targeted niche brands in the coffee space. So we now, I'm going to move through this a little bit quickly. I'm not used to only having 5 minutes. So we're building a platform where we can have multiple brands that share the same supply chain. So maybe Dean's business might not be a fit because it's in cocoa, but if you've got a coffee business out there, there's a lot of similarities in supply. And actually, maybe in cocoa, we should maybe talk about that, Dean. Maybe there are ways we can work together. But there's shared supply chain benefits that can support multiple brands. And so right now, Explore is not just Explore Cold Brew, the brand that I founded, but it is two other brands as well. Savorista, which is dedicated to decaf, whole bean coffee, naturally processed, certified organic, decaf and half calf. And then on the right is One Village Coffee. So that's a hyper sustainably sourced coffee. We only source from coffee farms where we have a direct relationship and we're able to give back to those brands. That's a Each of those represents a specific consumer need, a specific consumer want and need that people look for when they're buying in coffee. And underlying all of this is our strategic operations layer, which is Backyard Beans Coffee, which is the underlying roasting, sourcing, manufacturing, cold brewing, and bottling, et cetera, that allows all of these brands to profitably operate. We've grown tremendously over the last several years. Starting in 2021, that's only Explore online sales, and then we've grown to now. I'm missing the chart's off here. We're actually over 4 million revenue. There's a mistake in the chart because we're over 4 million revenue. Surprise, not just under three. It must be missing. It must be missing one of our brands. But the three brands combined are over 4 million revenue as of this year, and we are predominantly now in grocery, continuing to invest in that part of the business as e-commerce has gotten more challenging. So I think there's this really important blind spot in coffee that we're leaning into, which is that yes, there's these mega players. Obviously there's the Starbucks of the world. There's also La Colombe, owned by Chobani. The mega players that, as they have scaled, have needed to lean into mass appeal. And in doing so, a brand like La Colombe that started, I grew up outside Philadelphia, it started as a great Philadelphia-based specialty coffee brand, has to change, has to evolve. And so there's this long tail of fragmented coffee brands that have to be scrappy and struggle to survive. We are the way to take those premium and niche segments and actually have them not only survive but thrive in a way that has the potential for a strategic exit down the line and gives customers what they want.
30
I'm going to
seconds.
skip over this. We've got a long pipeline. These are a bunch of other verticals that we're looking at, segments that we're looking at, whether it's mushroom coffee, flavored coffee, a Gen Z focused brand, etc. I'm going to skip over this as well. This is our performance in Whole Foods. And that's it. I'm going to stop there. There's so much more I could say, but thank you so much for your time and for listening to our Explore journey.
Thank you so much, Kason. And who knows, maybe the judges will ask you some questions that will let you elaborate on some of those slides more. But this time we will start with Sydney.
Well, first off, thanks for your presentation. I loved your energy. I felt like I was in the room with you somewhere where you were pitching in person. So that was fantastic. I know that you obviously were clicking through a few of the slides, but did you have a slide by chance on like the format and like the sizing of like the products? I was trying to check and see.
Not in this deck.
Okay.
I have I yeah for like for so this is I wasn't really sure to be honest so this is the pitch that I'm crafting to hopefully get some investors to back the business. I have
Absolutely.
different like a different sort of more retail focused pitch
Sure.
that talks about all three brands.
Perfect.
Um
Perfect.
I am looking for investors to come in and help us acquire a few more brands this year and but anyway, so I do have that in other decks.
Formats. Understood. Perfect. And then another question for you. Um, you are currently like shipping these products, correct? These are like live. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Okay,
Oh yeah.
fantastic.
Please, in fact, anyone listening, please buy any and all of these brands from our
So,
website.
so the reason why I'm asking is because our organization twice a year they review whole bean coffee for review, so suppliers that are interested in possibly working with us, this is like their open application period. It actually ends tomorrow, so if you give me
Great.
your email I will send you the application link. I recommend maybe filling it out today, but
I'll
I
do
went
it
ahead
right
and
after
just
this.
perfect, I just sent a Teams message to someone just to be on the lookout if you do decide to submit information, but it would exclude the cold brew. It'd only have to be the One Village Coffee and the Savorista since they're whole bean.
Great.
Perfect. What is your email? And then I'll hand it over to the other judges. Sorry.
Hasten at
Oh, it's in the
exploreculture.com. I
perfect.
just sent it to
Okay.
you in the chat. Thank
Fantastic.
you so
All right.
much.
You're welcome. That's all I had.
Thank you so much. Karin, we'll go to you.
So you started alluding to what the pitch really drives to, which was really helpful for me. So can I ask you a quick question? So as you're thinking about that investor ask,
Yeah.
you mentioned acquiring more companies to come into the platform, right?
Yes.
I think that would be really helpful earlier on to share
Mm,
that because I wasn't sure if you were going to go with the coffee that you've created, and I love the caffeine conscious language that you used. That was so clear, and it like made me stop to think about what else we were going to say next. So it was really eye catch or ear catching, if that's a word. And so I would get more clear as to what that ask is of
okay.
the audience that you are presenting to. And it's a really interesting way of bringing all of these niche coffees together. And then the other piece that I think about too is the both the consumer that you're attracting and understanding, what is that velocity look like? How quickly you've grown. You showed your revenues, but it'd be interesting to see the momentum behind it and what your future projections are. And then lastly, I would say, could this also be a vehicle for acquisitions for somebody, for a Chobani, for other
Mm.
companies perhaps, or mergers between, multiple coffee suppliers. So really curious on all of those things.
Yeah, that last point's super interesting. Almost like a what do they call it? Like an incubation, like a oh my God, like a venture studio almost
Yes. Yeah.
model. Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you for the feedback. I think that's a great point. I was trying for the first time today, starting because one thing that's a challenge is I founded one brand, and then now, and then
Yeah.
we've shifted. And so I'm still working on refining how I make that transition in the storytelling. And that's a very helpful comment on bringing a little bit more of like the answer up to the front so that it's not a surprise at the end.
Yeah, and I think that you can definitely allude to it. If it is more of that investor for the platform, then you can allude to your ownership, but it's not the lead,
Yeah.
right? The lead is really bringing together all these different products and creating a one-stop solution for the consumer that's interested in these types of coffee items. And then and then understanding even like the volume of assortment that you have too could be helpful.
That's a great,
But I
yeah.
also love the energy. So great job.
Thank you.
And Kate.
I agree with both my fellow judges. The energy is off the charts, and it's obvious that you've been on reality shows, and it's obvious that you've been in theater and a director and all that stuff. It leapt across the page, it leapt across the screen. Um, I think, just hear me out. I think that it could be accomplished, what Karin is suggesting. It could be accomplished is after that first slide, after you introduce yourself and you say what the product is, you say, let me take a beat here. Where do we want to go? You say, I was at this precipice in the company where I was like, what do I do here? Well, I realized that this box that had my three wasn't going to go very far because, surprise, surprise, it's very hard to scale. Blah, 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 blah. So, did I want to do this? Did I want to do A? Did I want to do B? Did I want to do C? Well, I decided to let the data drive my decisions. And and then just explain the avenues. Don't go into
Oh,
too much
yeah.
detail. Don't
I
go into
actually
too much
love
detail.
that.
Yeah, just say it could be A, B, C. Choose your own adventure as it were. And then so you're just dropping the little seeds in their heads, in our heads, in the
Yeah.
investors' heads, whatever. And then you just take them down the avenues. You don't even have to go down the avenue of spinning off the company and letting other companies acquire you, but at least you've dropped that seed into their head. But at least you
Hmm.
go down the A and the B avenues. The C avenue is there. You don't go down it, but at least it's been dropped. But you go down the A and you go down the B. And then you
Yeah.
just wrap it up at the end and say, ta-da! And then that's it. And then that's it. And yeah, I think that's it. And then it's no notes from me. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna
Amazing.
say.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Kate. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. And yes, I do think that if Hamdi, the Chobani CEO, would see this, he would definitely go to option three, option C, and he would definitely be like, he would tell his investor guys, he'd be like, let's buy that company. And that'd be it. Because it's not that he would want to acquire you. He would not want anyone else to acquire you to then you to become a competitor to him. He does this, he does this, he does
Hmm.
this. So I just know this about
Well,
him. Is anyone else from Chobani on the call? I'm looking quickly at the names, being like, oh, do I know any of these names? There is a couple of names that I'm seeing that I'm like, oh God, does Hamdi know this person? Anyway, if you do, I was
well,
not even here. I was not
uh,
here.
thank you, Kate. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Giving away the company secrets, Kate.
Not
Thank
it's
you so
just
much,
stuff you
Judges.
could have read about. You could have read about in a pub, in an industry pub.
I won't say anything.
Okay.
Thank you so much, judges, and thank you again, Kason. Great job.
Thank you.
All right, next presenter, we're going to go to Joe McGinnis with Maverick Wine and Spirits, doing business as Don Cosme Tequila. So, Joe, whenever you're ready, you can start sharing your screen and you can get started, and I will just start my timer whenever you get started.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Can everybody hear me and see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So my name is Joe McGinnis, and I am the co-owner of a small family-owned tequila brand. I'm actually by trade, I own a small corporate communications firm in Atlanta, Georgia, for just about 25 years. But our agency was the agency of record with Coca-Cola Fountain for about 10. We've also worked with CNN, Turner Broadcasting, Delta Airlines, US Bank, Brown Forman, and the list goes on and on and on. But to make a long story short, this project came across my desk right before COVID. My business partners on this project are a husband and wife out of Houston, and then my husband and I here in Atlanta are that's the two families that own it. The previous owner of this brand passed away, and the brand went idle for many years. It's actually been in the marketplace since 1907, and we are the third family to own it. So when they purchased it from the widow of the previous owner, they were referred to me as somebody that could help them refresh and relaunch the brand. So this is my COVID project, and I spent about a year on it with my team. These little characters are called alebrijes, which are the spirit guides. Of course, for those folks that speak Spanish from Mexico, they know that the alebrijes are very specific to Mexican culture. We wanted to do something that was really an homage to Mexican culture and heritage, something that celebrated it. But also, I'm a designer, so I'm like, okay, we got to do something that's going to stand out on the shelf. It's such a competitive, saturated market. How can we do that? So we loved these characters, and then designed in each of these characters are the flavor profiles of the tequilas. Um, Again, inspired by these little alebrijes. This is kind of our sales sheet. Our tequilas are 100% Weber Blue Agave. We don't add sugar and flavoring to them. We are family owned and operated. We still honor a lot of traditional methods in terms of how tequila should be made. Because we're small batch, we can kind of quality control and deliver a better product. We still slow cook our agaves in brick ovens, which is kind of like the difference between putting your pizza in a microwave or a brick oven. The brick oven, you're going to get more complex flavor and taste. We distill them twice so that they're as pure and clean as possible, so you don't have to worry about your headaches and hangovers. Our tequilas are very well known for having a super smooth finish. The craft of tequila distillation has really evolved over the past few years. It's really now a world-class tequila. I mean, there's a lot of differences between the good ones and the bad ones. But we really, as a small brand, the small family-owned brands, we focus on the quality. That's how we differentiate our product for some of the ones that are mass produced and maybe the celebrity driven ones. So we definitely stand by our quality. And of course, then that spirit guide that you see in the bottle or alebrije serves as, an infographic for your notes and aromas of the three tequilas. This is our sales sheet. We're currently selling in all across the state of Texas, Georgia, and Florida. This is our sales sheet in Florida. You can see a little bit more of the breakdown of how those infographics work. We're really transparent about our label and our process. So it's all right there, right on the front of our label. The grow, how it's made, the fermentation, the distillation. So for me, design is education. And I really wanted our packaging and our label to serve as a sales tool for the folks in the on and off premise accounts. Oh my gosh, I only have a minute left. All right, we are growing this year into Minnesota, Washington, Oregon, and California, but those need to come with a big asterisk because we have to come in behind those markets and support them with sales, of course, which is overwhelming. We are selling online. We can sell to 48 states. I have a very comprehensive social media program where I bring in guests from the hospitality industry and they make cocktails with me. And it's really a conversation between me and folks in the hospitality industry. I like bringing in experts because I haven't worked behind the bar before. So this actually is the general manager at Savannah Distributing in Georgia. And this kind of gives you a big overall view look of what we've been creating in-house. We're in all the ABC stores in Florida. Animal rescue is a big part of our mission. We're all animal lovers, and because of our label, dog on our label, our goal is to really be more connected to some communities, for our social responsibility. We're in the media. There's my partners. There's my other partner on the far left. Some branded material. We created contact information. Sorry, I didn't mean to rush there at the end, but yeah, that's gives you the gist.
All right. Thank you so much, Joe. I'm a huge tequila fan, so I'm going to need to try this. And I will turn it over to our judges for some feedback. And Karin, I'll start with you.
Sounds good. Thank you. Joe, great job. Um, I I loved the packaging. I think that's so eye-catching. I'm also a big tequila fan, and I always enjoy seeing tequila that has that legacy of being around for a long time, family-owned business. So really appreciate that. My question for you is, with this pitch, what is the ask that you were trying to get after? Was it expansion into additional states? Was it more of the consumer focus? What was the ask?
So I'm kind of at a strange crossroads because this is our fifth year of sales. We haven't blown up. The distributor partnerships that we're with keep telling me that I'm doing everything that we're supposed to be doing it. I feel like we're really earning it the old-fashioned way. We are our own investors. We don't have any partners that are investing in it, so we're controlling the whole process ourselves. I spend my weekends in liquor stores meeting customers and educating them on tequila. I've been doing that constantly for the past 4 years. Um, you know, Marketing spirits is a totally different animal than food and beverage because of all the limitations. Our social did not achieve the what I was hoping it would this past year. Although the followers we have are extremely loyal and they love us, so we've got a really good, a very loyal organic following. But the next step is for us is to figure out how we're going to get some sort of media blitz or feature editorial. I can't, we don't have a budget to do paid marketing, so it's got to be something more through community and media and editorial. So my distributor partners keep telling me, they go, yeah, but Joe, you don't want to be a flash in the pan. I'm like, I know we don't want to be that either. We don't want to be popular for blow up and be popular for 2 minutes. We definitely are playing the long game. But I'm kind of stuck. I don't know what to do next, and I want to keep the gas on.
hmm Yeah, so my family and I, we own a hard cider company, and
Oh,
to
yeah.
completely understand the challenges with marketing when it comes to alcoholic beverage. It's real. One of the things that I'm curious about is in seeing the map of where you're currently located and where you're going to expand to, those are very disparate regions. And so have you given thought to looking at more focus within specific regions, or is it limited because of the distributor relationships that you have?
So we're also our own importer, and our warehouse is based in
Okay.
Houston. Our intention initially was just to really focus on the Southeast, but one of my business partners has, through some of our off-premise retailer relationships with like Specs in Texas and ABC stores, they're helping us navigate to other distributor chain relationships. So there's a store in Minnesota, there's a chain of 15 stores that wants to bring us in. So we're like, oh, okay, well, we can deliver to Minnesota. And then as we're learning about the West Coast, they're kind of broker states. So we've found a broker that wants to rep our brand, and he works in California, Oregon, and Washington. That's why I said put a big asterisk by that, because one person can't launch a brand. I don't care how good they are at sales. I mean, what is he going to do? Get us into a few stores? So we haven't even begun to kind of navigate and figure that out. If you talk to my business partners, they're like, we're going national, we're going national. We could have a successful brand and not be national. But we've got to, we do about 5,000 cases a year, and we've got to get to that 15,000 cases point, and we're 5 years in, and I thought we'd be a little bit further along. So I've got to figure out what to do next to get us to over that next big hump.
Yeah, I would encourage you to explore maybe clustering a little bit more so that the consumer, because you have both on-prem and off-prem. I think from a consumer standpoint, so much of that following comes from being available in both, right? And so being able to cluster a little bit more when you actually have some boots on the ground to do tastings, to do those experiential events that can help make the connections and then ultimately repeat sales, I think could be interesting because it's like you said, it's yes, you could ship, but then the marketing piece um, becomes a little more difficult if, depending on how you're partnering with your distributors.
Yeah, every state kind of operates differently in the spirits
Yeah.
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Georgia's a mom and pop, so I have to literally go out and meet every single brick and mortar. We're in Texas, Specs could launch us statewide, and in Florida, ABC could launch us statewide. So yeah,
Mhm.
we can do some things more probably in North South Carolina with the ABC stores and kind of navigate that relationship a little bit more. Um, right now, our business is about 20 to 30% off prem or on premise and 70 to 80% off premise. Um, yeah, with liquor stores, the restaurant business is more relationship. So it's tougher, but we are adding a well to our portfolio, so that we can be more one-stop shop and support our restaurant partners better. Because right now it's a premium upsell tequila. But yeah, we're doing all that, and I host a lot of festivals and events and stuff too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren. I'll go to Kate next.
What does adding a well mean? And I should know this because I used to work for Molson Coors and I used to be in the restaurant business.
Yeah,
And
it's a lower price tequila that would be branded under Don
a
Cospe.
well, a
Yeah, yeah.
well.
Well, it's less expensive.
Yeah,
To be
yeah,
part of any bar program, you need to be in a certain price point in order for that restaurant to pour because they want their margins. So if
right,
they're
right,
going to
right.
pour us instead of that, that's then the buyer has to pay more. It's an upsell, it's a special. And then we
Yeah,
have to come in behind and promote it and support it and blah blah blah. So in order to just be more full service and one stop, we're adding, another couple SKUs to our portfolio, which will
got
be
it,
lower price points.
got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. Well, no notes. I keep on saying no notes. It sounds like you're doing great.
Thanks.
And I hear
There
you
goes
in
one of my
car.
there goes one of my salespeople now, picking up samples. Yeah.
Thank you, Kate.
And Car and I had no earthly idea that your family owned what'd you say?
Yeah.
A hard cider company?
Yeah.
Very
Yep.
interesting. And why don't you bring samples to your hotel room during conferences?
Next time, I'll do
Okay.
that.
Yeah, this is the place to plug it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, she's like, I do, and you just haven't been invited, Kate. Well, now it's said. Now it's been said.
She
It's
invited herself.
yeah.
I will turn it to you, Sydney.
Well, I think everyone pretty much gave great feedback. I used to actually sell wine and sake and beer and North Carolina. Um, so yeah, it could spirits specifically, it can be a very challenging space, especially from on premise and getting those placements. It does sound like you mentioned briefly that most of your sales are through ABC stores, right?
It depends on the state. So
But
Texas,
typically like oh,
yeah.
off premise.
Yeah, it's mostly right now, it's 80% of our business is definitely off premise, which,
Gotcha.
which makes sense because we're
Sure.
hosting, we have an army of sales folks that,
Mm,
go out and we've always known that we wanted to meet the customer at the place of purchase. And of
mhm,
course, the volume that you get, but we also know the importance of on-premise too, because that's where the story begins. That's where the relationships happen. And so here in Georgia, I've successfully, grown some phenomenal on-premise accounts and a lot of loyalty, and they
mhm.
won't drink anything else, which is amazing. But that's, you know, well, the spirits game. It's like if I turn around and don't continue nurturing those relationships, the next brand will come in and squeeze us out. So,
Yeah, for sure. Have and just two more points and then I'll hand it back over to Carly. But have you engaged in like influencer marketing? I know you mentioned you're in it for the long game, right?
yeah.
And not wanting it to just be like some trending like beverage that has its peak and then it, dies down. But have you maybe found like someone influence in the social media
Yeah,
space that aligns with your brand standards?
we definitely need to leverage influencer marketing more. Being a designer myself and a producer of creative content,
Mhm.
I told everybody that I wanted to be our own influencers, and not be dependent on influencer marketing. So then that therefore we produced all of our own content for this past year,
Mhm.
which was exhausting, and we didn't get the results that we were hoping for because of the settings, and the logarithm keeps changing the rules in the spirits industry, and they weren't pushing out our content. Um, so yeah, we need a better, more strategic, we're constantly lining up and checking, um, building our list of potential good influencer partners, and I'll be doing more of that this year for sure.
Perfect. Well, I'm on your Instagram page right now, and your page looks fantastic. I specifically the company that I work with, we have a sector within our organization called Levy. So they specifically do the entertainment space. So think like Coachella, Grammys, Oscars, Emmys, those larger events. So at Food Buy, we do not procure alcoholic beverages. Those sectors handle that directly. But if you can send me like a personal message or something on here with your email or direct contact information. I took a few screenshots of your slide. I can send it over to them. Again, no guarantees for anything, but at least get in front of the right
Yeah,
people. So
I love that. Thank you.
perfect. Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much, Sydney. Thank you so much, judges. And thanks again, Joe. Great job.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
All right, last but certainly not least, we have our fifth and final presenter for the day, Jorge Cespedes with Olive Juice Hospitality. So Jorge, I will turn it over to you, and whenever you're ready, you can get your slides up and get started.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Cool. Typical, can you see my screen question?
Looks like it's still loading. Also, we're getting a tiny bit of feedback, like from a speaker, maybe. I don't know if there's anything on.
Um, can you hear me now?
We can hear you. There's just a little bit of a buzzing over your voice.
Okay. Let me see.
But I think we can definitely get through it if there's nothing obvious, no obvious solution to it.
Okay, how about now? That better?
It's better, but it's cutting out just a little bit. Can you say something again?
Yeah, I put on my AirPods hoping that that would work.
Beautiful. That sounds much better. And we can
Okay.
see the screen, so you are all set.
Okay, great. So, Olive Juice is a hospitality charcuterie company. Let me go to next. Oh, sorry. Okay. My name is Jorge Cespedes. I'm a classically trained chef from Johnson & Wales University in Rhode Island. I've been in the restaurant industry for a very long time, 15 plus years, working with large restaurant chains and global culinary brands. And my co-founder, life and business partner, Wyatt Hill, has a long background in customer facing experience, operations, human resources, and scaling businesses in multiple fractional consulting roles. Now let's jump into the charcuterie industry in the US. As a chef, I was shocked by the size of it. It's a $2 billion industry and growing 4.6%. According to Data Central, consumers are craving an experience with every meal that they have, and they want to skip the hassle of having to make it from scratch. And 76% of consumers love the culinary experience of charcuterie. So here's the issue. The marketplace has a huge gap because there's not one place, and I have searched everywhere for this, there's not one place that you can go build or customize a charcuterie board within a few minutes. So your choices now are, choice one is ordering a charcuterie board from a cheese or gourmet shop, It's expensive. There's not an option for like a one-person board. So like if you leave work and you're like, God, I just want some cheese and meats with a glass of wine and I want to get it fast, there's no way to do that because it'll take 1-2 hours advance ordering. And choice two is you do it yourself, right? So you go, you shop for the ingredients. It's a high cost. There's a major stress about leftovers because we never eat the block of cheese. And it's very time consuming. So our solution is a fast casual restaurant concept. We started with a 3-phase approach. Phase one, a catering station here in Denver to launch the brand. Phase two is a brick and mortar. And phase three, which we're very excited about, it's an airport kiosk. We started phase one in May of last year. This is our beautiful cart. It was inspired by French patisseries and beautiful hotel and home bars that we have seen in our global travels. The food we serve is also globally sourced from Italian prosciutto, Dutch Gouda, Spanish manchegos, Tatar seasoned mozzarella pearls, and lemon zest marinated Sicilian Castelvetran olives, just to name a few. So in our last 10 months of business, we've had great success, and some of our key takeaways are the following. People love the fact that each ingredient is in its own container and they don't touch each other, and that's a big deal for vegetarian, vegan, and even some allergy diets. People love that they get to choose only what they want and nothing else on their plates, so at the end of their meal, there's no waste. And sometimes it even pushes them to experience things they never have tried before. Our phase two is a brick and mortar here in Denver, Colorado. Imagine the Chipotle of charcuterie, but with an elevator aesthetics, craft cocktails, and a really fun and approachable wine list. We want to open this in an area called Cherry Creek. It's a very high-end area. It receives more than 13 million visitors a year, 16,000 daily employees, 12,000 residents, and 6 hotels. So it has really good traffic. In this slide, on the image on the left, you'll see how it works. So you kind of go to the left-hand side, and just like Chipotle or Sweetgreens, you walk down the line and you build your board or plate. And you either enjoy it there with a glass of wine or a cocktail, or you take it home and enjoy it at home. Our phase three is the airport kiosk in Denver. Denver is a massive airport. It has over 82 million passengers a year. It's the 3rd busiest airport in North America and the 6th busiest in the world. Here are some renderings of our beautiful kiosk. So, it would be a first of its kind in the travel industry with fresh, high quality charcuterie ingredients. I think this would stop you in your tracks. And picture being at the airport, you look around and all you see are McDonald's, Chick-fil-A's, and other unhealthy and uninteresting options. Maybe there's a few nice sit-down restaurants, but you just don't have the time. So imagine seeing olive juice. You get to quickly pick out selection of premium ingredients, and within minutes, you're on the way to your gate with a personalized charcuterie box with all of your favorite foods. We are asking right now $900,000 to $1 million to launch our Cherry Creek flagship location that covers the build-out, the equipment installation, pre-opening and licensing, and 6 months of operating capital. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jorge. Great job. I'm going to stop my timer here, and I'm going to turn it over to our judges. And this time we'll have Kate start us off.
Great, thank you. Well, that was a great presentation. I love the visuals. That's just always so helpful. And it was very forward. This is what we're gonna have. This is what we're gonna do. I love that. Very visual. The stats that go with it, saying this is how many visitors it gets. This is how many. Imagine that you're here. Imagine that you look to the right and the left, and all you see is McDonald's and this and this. Within a few seconds, you're gonna have this in your hand. You're going to be off to your gate. That's just great.
Thank you.
I thought it was so great. And I loved the stats about the velocity of what you've already had. I thought that was so good. And I love that it's a concept that, you even had it on there. You're like, people are familiar with this. It's like playing up a Lunchable that they've had. It's a concept that they've been familiar with their entire life. So I said this with all of them. No notes. I think it's so great.
Thank you. It's really funny. Every event we do, we have someone say, oh my God, hashtag girl dinner. Because it's just like
Just gonna
a
say
bunch
that.
of bites of little things that you love. And, charcuterie boards are just so fun. That was the reason why we started the business. We love doing charcuterie boards, Wyatt and I, here at home. And every time we have friends over, that's what we serve. So we said, let's give this to everyone, but let's do it right, high end, and fast.
Right. Is there any little dessert, little brownies, little nosh, little anything at the end that's a little sweet treat?
Well, as a chef, I'll tell you, every board should be perfectly balanced. There's always sweet things. We right now serve dark chocolate covered pistachios. We also serve quince paste, or in Spanish called membrillo, which goes really well with the cheeses, and then dry apricots. So there's always a balance of sweet and salty. I season a lot of the things personally, so we give it that chef touch to our cart, which differentiates us from almost anything else in the city.
Good, 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 good. Well, next time I fly through Denver, I'm gonna be looking for it. Do you know what gate it's gonna be in yet, or is that still way too
Uh,
premature?
it's too premature. I wish I could give you that answer now, but I'm hoping within a year we'll see you there.
Okay.
Oh, that's so exciting. That sounds incredible. Sydney, I'll go to you next.
Yes, I was gonna say the same thing when you were talking about girl dinner. Um, I love all things charcuterie boards, especially, now everyone is prioritizing like protein, and
Yeah,
having a solution that is kind of like fresh made to order, especially in an airport when most all the things are like pre-made,
yeah.
already. I think that's fantastic. I love the branding and I love the concept. Um, Especially like you mentioned, like a Chipotle style, but like for charcuterie. Um, I think that's amazing. Now, my question, I think, was specifically around your catering operation with your cart, which is
Mhm.
so awesome. I wish I lived in Denver, to hire you for a personal event, but um, you're currently doing that, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Are you able to just like drop your email in the chat for me as well? We have a sector within our business called Food Fleet. So they work with like mobile carts, food carts, or food trucks around the US. And they, if there's an interest there, they look to onboard and contract folks for different events, specifically in that area. So within the Denver area. So I'm happy to send it over to my contacts, but this sounds fantastic. And to Kate's point, no
Absolutely.
notes. So
Thank you so much. Yeah, I believe Wyatt, my partner, has been actively sending information
perfect.
in the
Thanks,
chat,
Wyatt.
but
I see it here.
we'll send it directly to you too. Yeah, thank you,
Thanks.
Cindy.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Jorge,
much. Good.
Jorge, this was a fantastic presentation. I absolutely loved when you called out the Chipotle of charcuterie. I like, I mean, honestly, I would almost open with that. It's like,
Yeah,
imagine a Chipotle, but make it about charcuterie. And I'd be like,
yeah,
what?
yeah. You know what's
So,
really
I
interesting?
mean,
I gave this presentation the other day, and I used to use the sweet greens of charcuterie. And in this presentation, no one had ever heard of sweet greens, and they were like, "Is it like a salad?" So someone said, "Just say Chipotle," and I'm like, "Done. That everyone knows Chipotle."
yes, yes. So, I mean, that when you said that, it instantly solidified in my brain. And then the only other thing that I would say is I can only imagine the testimonials you've gotten from events.
Yes.
I would include some of those testimonials about the excitement factor, the wow factor. I mean,
Yes,
I
I
like Kate,
wanted to
I'm
do
like,
that.
when can I get to one of these? Because
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is my epic. Every night, if I could eat this way, I would.
I
But I
totally
don't.
get it. Same. And we had this presentation, and everyone that has presented knows it used to be like 20 slides, and I'm like, cut that. We don't have time. Um, but every time we're at an event or we're talking to people, and they're like, what's next? What's next? And every time I say airport, they're like, when are you opening? Oh my God, I need that immediately because I cannot deal with any more airport food. And someone that I used to consult on Coca-Cola, Joseph, in Atlanta, and I used to travel to Atlanta every week. there's nothing good to eat, and I've never been able to find a place where I could get like a quick charcuterie board like this. I get it. Yeah, we wanted to add some of the comments, but it's really fun. People love it. They get to come to the cart, build their plate the way they want it. They get to choose only what they want to eat. And they're like, oh, thank God I don't eat nuts, but the nuts are not touching anything else. They're on their own container. I can actually enjoy everything else here. Oh, thank God the honey isn't all over the board, and now my meats are full of honey. So when we opened it, we did a lot of research, and as a chef, I knew how to do it and I want to do it. But we've learned so much. And the idea of the cart was we're not planning on being caterers forever. The idea with the cart is to test the concept, put it out there, have events, and it's been a very successful. Like the response has been great. They're all like, "When are you opening the store?" Because the idea of leaving work, stopping, building a board, and taking it home, and that's dinner is incredible. And I can't get that anywhere right now. So I know the need is there.
Yeah, and I think the other really interesting potential exploration for you, if this hasn't already come to mind, is, I think about moments where you could have a place like this near a theater district or near a big arena or, places
Oh
where
yeah,
oftentimes people want to go and enjoy something before or after, but maybe don't have a full 2 hours to sit down. And that could still be a
yeah.
really wonderful experience with this like elevated, charcuterie board that isn't necessarily a huge time commitment too. So that could be an interesting positioning as well, in addition to the airport approach.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even if like the we call it the travel industry side of the business, we want to start at airports, but sports venues,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I would love to go to watch a football game and have a charcuterie board with a beer. Like why can't we do that now instead of having to have some unhealthy thing? Like let me enjoy something I like too. So I think there's a lot of potential for fast casual concept of like a bento box style board. Uh, to go. So that's where we want to be at.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Corin. Thank you, judges. And thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
all.
Okay, I'm going to be on the lookout for when that opens because I really need this. Everybody, that is it for the presentations. But before we wrap up, we're going to hear from our judges just one more time. I'm going to give our judges the chance to provide some closing thoughts. So, any last advice you want to give to the presenters, anything else that you might want to say in general, I will turn it over to you one more time before we close out. And this time I would love to start with Sydney.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me on. I think originally I was filling in for someone, but I'm so honored to be here. And I think I'd love to just come and start sitting in the audience just to like listen to future companies. But I think, wow, how many talented people we have on one call with so many fantastic ideas. I guess my word of advice or unsolicited advice is just keep doing what you're doing. The hardest part of entrepreneurship is taking that step and, doing it. And you all are at the right place, connected with the right organization who is, willing to stand behind you and support you along your journey and be a conduit to possible opportunities. So it's an honor to meet everyone, and I would love to stay in contact. I know I messaged a few people, but I will put my email down here at the bottom if anyone ever wants to reach out. We're all busy, but I'm always happy to take a few moments for some folks at the NGLCC family. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Sydney. It was so great to have you. This was your first sip and pitch, right?
Yes, and I love it here. No notes, like Kate always says. Like drops the mic. It
The
was
tagline of
fantastic.
the day. All right, Karin, I'll turn it over to you for any closing thoughts.
I will also just echo Sydney on just thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be a part of the afternoon. I'm just so inspired by all of these incredible businesses and the talent that went behind and the thoughtfulness that goes behind every single one of them. Because Goodness. I would say in terms of closing thoughts, the biggest thing is for me would be encouraging you all to continue bringing people on that journey of, sharing the story, sharing enough information that is really relevant, and knowing when to adjust based on different audiences. But people want to get to know you. They want to learn about, the why behind it. And you all have some really incredible opportunities to continue with your storytelling. And I'm also really hungry and I want a coffee and a cocktail. So I appreciate that.
Thanks, Karin. I agree. I think I might be biased, and food and beverage sip and pitch might be my favorite, but I do need a snack now. And Kate, I'll turn it over to you and your no notes.
No notes. Like that's I keep on saying it, but I'm so glad you reached out for me on this one. I'm obviously I'm perfectly seasoned for the food and beverage one. It's my entire LinkedIn profile. Like I've always been in food and beverage, and food and beverage is where I will always remain. And it's it's my cup of tea. Ha. But no, it's great. And I thank you for letting me do this. And it was great. And I've done it before, maybe twice before. I don't know. And I've kind of always been this way. I've kind of, even though I had long black hair because I was much younger and skinnier. And I I did it a long time ago when no notes was not even around, but I would always give my advice about like kind of how to grow your business. It wasn't like, no, no, y'all are great. I was just like, well, you don't need my advice, but, but so if ever you need a judge like that again, I'm your gal. So
Well, in
I,
addition to your no notes, you did give a lot of really great advice. So
I hope I did, but I appreciate it.
really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for those closing thoughts, judges. And we will get ready to close out now. So thank you all so much for being here. Our next sip and pitch will be taking place on Thursday, March 26th at 3:30 p.m. So we will see you all next month for more sip and pitch. Also want to drop the link in the chat real quick to register for the 2026 NGLCC International Business and Leadership Conference. It's going to be taking place this summer, August 18th to 21st in San Diego. So feel free to click that link to both get some more information about it, register, and feel free to reach out to us here on the team at NGLCC if you have any questions. Just want to say thank you one more time to our fantastic presenters, Sam, Dean, Kason, Joe, and Jorge, and to our fantastic judges, Karin, Kate, and Sydney. Thank you all so much for being here. This was a great time, and hope everybody has a great Friday and a great weekend. See you next month.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.